Peace everyone, Unmasked here, and welcome back to the Patreon live stream. Today I'm going to be working on the stones, and I did anticipate doing the flowers. However, I'm second guessing that because just like when we were working with the grass, I said that down here in the front I couldn't really finish the grass here because I needed to finish the stones first. And so the plan is going to be finishing the stones and then finishing the grass. That's going to be the game plan for today, and if I feel confident enough, then I'll jump forward to the flowers. But I don't want to rush this piece. I really like the way that it's coming out, and I don't want to change that. I'm starting the stream a few minutes early. I was sitting here, I was ready to go. You know how it is. Anytime I'm sitting here ready to go, I just hit start streaming and then go from there. I'm sure you guys will be able to catch up easily. It's not like I'll be doing a whole lot. So let's go ahead and start coloring in these stones. The first color I'm going to be using is actually the sky color. I'm going to start using the blue first, which is the 146. And with the exception of these rocks that are clearly in the shadow, I'm going to color the top side of all the stones with a really light layer of blue. And that is because when you are working with smooth surfaces, they become reflective. So the smoother, and it doesn't matter the material. It does not matter the material at all. Stones are rather smooth, especially these walking stones here that would have been stepped on a million times, gradually getting smoother and smoother over the years. But regardless of the material, the smoother it gets, the more reflective it becomes. That's a really good concept to understand when it comes to coloring something from your imagination. Because another object here that will be very reflective is the stairs here. Since they're going to be made of wood, in my case they're going to be made of wood. You can have them made of any material that you want, but mine are going to be wood. The wood's going to be rather smooth, and because of the angle we're looking at the stairs, they're going to be somewhat reflecting the light from the sky. So the top side of the stairs will be relatively bluish, and then the top side of these stones here will be bluish as well. So we'll map out those stones there, and I'm just adding a hint of blue. I don't want the stones to be blue. I want them to be kind of grayish tan, and I'm probably going to use a bunch of my colors here, just mixing all the colors together to get the right tone for my stones. But I want them to be rather light. I think in my original plan and the Photoshop coloring of this piece, I had the stones darker than the path, and I'm not quite sure if I want that. You could go with darker stones, but I kind of like the brightness that it creates because the stones are so light. So I think I'm going to keep it like that. I kind of like that idea. Oh, hello Barbara, good morning to you. Glad you're able to make it. Yeah, I started the stream a little bit early, but at least you're here. Alright, now I'm just going to add a little bit of blue on the top sides of these stones. I'm not going to do the whole stone, just the part of the stone that I think would be reflecting the sky. Obviously the shadow side of the rocks won't be reflecting the sky, but the top sides of each stone will be. So I'm just kind of touching up the edges a little bit with the blue, just the top sides of each individual stone. This will help give it some dimension. And I'm probably I'm probably going to have the stones matching, but looking at my pre-colored version, I actually feel more inclined to change the color of the stones and make them different stones. So I think I might have lighter stones here, but slightly darker stones here. I think that's what I'm going to go for. Change it up a little bit. Of course, you can go with whatever color variation that you would like to see. But I think if I make the stones match, it's just going to look a little too artificial. Because, you know, you don't usually make the stones, the walking stones, match the fountain stones. There we go. So just a touch of blue. I'm gonna grab the kind of peachy color. This is the 189, and I'm just gonna brush this over the stones a little bit to mix with the blue. This is the color I used for the dirt underneath, and I don't really want to make the stones match that too much. Like I said, I'm going to keep them rather light, so I'm barely using this color. And I think I might add some speckles to my stones as well. And I think what I'm going to do is use the bright orange color just to create a very small interesting detail throughout the stones that you kind of have to look closely to see, just to make the drawing overall just a little more interesting. Alright, now I'll just color these stones. I'm just going to color the entire stone here. So all of the stones I'm going to do a light layer. Since I'm changing the color between the two, I'm just going to do a base layer of this 189 over all of my fountain stones over here. Still very light, but just a little bit more of this color showing through than these stones over here. Hope everyone is having a nice Tuesday so far, and their Monday wasn't too bad. I know not a lot of people look forward to Monday. I usually look forward to Monday simply because I do the live streams over on YouTube, and I really enjoy doing those. I started working on started preparing my panel for an oil painting. I'm going to be doing an oil painting project. I'm going to be doing it offline, something a little bit more personal, since I haven't played around with oils in a number of years. I won't be doing any tutorials of them anytime soon, but I'm going to be recording the process of this painting that I'm working on. It's been a little bit of a developmental process, trying to think of what I was going to paint, designing a painting, and I spent pretty much all day today so far designing a painting in Photoshop, kind of mapping out what I'm going to do, what I want to create, and I've been trying to come up with an idea for, I don't know, maybe a month or something like that. I've spent a lot of time just prepping for a painting, even before I anticipated buying oils. But I knew I had to come up with something, and so I've been kind of toying around with a bunch of ideas, and I think I finally settled on one. So I look forward to starting that process. Alright, I'm going to take the white now and go over the stones to smooth out some of the pigment. Just the walking stones, because they're going to be the lighter colors. And then I'll do some more work on these stones. These stones are pretty much going to be done as they are. Once I color them with the white, I'll increase some of the shadow around the edges to get them to stand off the ground a little bit. Just add a bit more thickness to them so that they don't look like they're just flat, but that they kind of stick out of the ground a little bit. While you're receiving your polychromos today, that's awesome. And the touch-up texture in titanium white, cool deal. Yeah, I haven't used the titanium white and touch-up texture in a while. I haven't had any projects that I felt I needed to use it on, but I was actually thinking that this project I might end up using it specifically for the whiskers of my little mouse here, just to get them to show up a bit better. There we go. The stones are essentially gray, but they match the sky. They look gray when you isolate them, but we all know they're blue because I colored them blue. Alright, I'm gonna grab my solvent really quick. Actually, no. Yeah. I'm gonna use solvent first before adding the details to those ground stones right there. And this is just going to blend out the surface a bit. And then I'll add some speckles to my stones and a nice hard edge on the bottom, a bit of a cast shadow from the light. I kind of have it already established, but I think adding a bit more to it will help the stones stand out a bit better. I might be able to just do the stones, the grass, and the water today. These stones are just getting done super quick. I didn't really... Sometimes I overthink how much effort needs to be put into a specific object in the piece, and it's nice when it's the complete opposite. These stones are turning out really well fairly quickly with very minimal effort. I guess I just was overthinking the complexity that I wanted to create with them. But I guess it's just such a small area, there's not much else I can do. Just blend out some of the grainy texture from the pencil and then add some speckles to them. I think I might add some speckles of multiple colors. There we go. Set that brush aside. And I'm going to grab my orange now. And I'm just going to add little dots throughout the stones. Like I said, these, I'm most likely not going to see these on camera. It's just going to be like, I guess you could almost refer to them as unnecessary details, just to know that they're there. Just to add a little extra effort. Bringing in the orange a tiny bit. Giving the stones a uniqueness. Like I said, nobody's really going to know they're there unless you see this picture in person. These are the kind of little details I usually like to hide in my more personal creations. Some things that I usually don't tell anybody about, but I know that they're there. Like I said, just to give them something that's almost like a hidden signature. Oh, hello, Hugo and Chrissy. Good morning, good evening. I'm just tapping the color. I can see that it shows up. Like I said, you're probably not going to be able to see this on the camera, but I can see it in person, and we all know that they're there. There we go. I'm gonna grab the dark brown now. Do the same thing with the brown. This color here is the 178. That orange that I used is the same from last week, which is the 115. I'm gonna add a little extra brown over top of these rocks that are meant to be in the shadow. And a touch of purple on top of them as well, since they're shaded. That purple, by the way, is the 136. All right, back to dots. I won't do too much of this. This is part of that overcomplicating for no reason thing that kind of slows down the progress a bit. But it's adding a very subtle and very nice, just more lifelike texture to the rocks. The rocks are more fun this way. Speckled rocks. I haven't seen anybody else's progress on this project. Is anybody that's in the chat right now currently coloring this project? Or are you waiting for the announcement of the coloring competition? I think I may have talked myself out of anything else to say from yesterday's live stream. Yesterday's live stream was a lot of fun, but nothing too exciting has happened since yesterday. So having something to talk about, I don't really have much else to talk about. So if you guys have any questions, definitely now is the time to ask, because I'm kind of lost. I'm at a loss of subjects here to discuss, as I'm just putting the finishing touches on my stones here. You're following along, Barbara? Okay, well, cool. How do you like the way your project is coming out? No, just enjoying your color. Very therapeutic. Well, that is good to know, Chrissy. I'm glad it's therapeutic. It's always good to see you in the live streams as well. I appreciate your support and your kindness and just your friendship. I think it's safe to say that. Yeah, now the stones look a little bit more lifted off the ground, and it creates a nice finished look for them. Makes them stand out a little bit more. There we go. I think that looks good. Watched part of the reindeer pastel project. I don't have the Rembrandt scent, but I do have the Faber-Castell. Really want the Rembrandts. Wonder if Faber-Castell would work. Oh yeah, I have no doubt that the Faber-Castell would work perfectly fine. The only reason I was using the Rembrandt, and I've been continuing to use the Rembrandt, is because, as I mentioned in yesterday's live stream, I can't buy the Faber-Castells individually, and I'm missing like 4 colors, which is unfortunate because I really like the shape of them. But as far as color selection, they're pretty much identical. Oh, good morning, Kimberly. Alright, let's see, what am I doing here? Let's finish up the fountain stones now. I think I'm going to start with just deepening some of the creases with this color here. Just to make the separation of the stones stand out a bit more. I don't want them to be brown, that's the thing. When I was establishing my color palette here, this triadic color palette, the color is, you know, this purplish blue, the orange, and the green. Those are my 3 like primary sections of the color wheel. If you have like a physical color wheel, I don't. You can look at a digital one as well, but the triadic color scheme is literally just cutting the color wheel into equal thirds and using those thirds for the right in the middle, or like where you actually cut it. It's those colors there that create the triadic color scheme, and of course you can rotate that to find which colors that you want to work with. And essentially, I think what I went for was I found the orange that I wanted to create for the subtle details in the toadstools. So whatever colors were left over after choosing the orange based on the triadic cut of the color wheel gave me the color of the sky and the color of the grass. And so that's how I decided on this color scheme. And this brown here is actually just a darkened, desaturated version of the orange. Essentially, that's where the brown comes from. And it's always safe to incorporate gray, black, and white into any color scheme. So I think I'm going to go a little bit more gray on these stones here, but I just want to trace out where my separation of the stones are first before grabbing a gray pencil. Probably just going to grab a warm gray to do a base, kind of a base layer of color. You're enjoying the process with this project? I don't work as fast as you, so usually catch up watching the recorded version. Okay, well, I'm glad that you are enjoying the this project. I'm having a lot of fun with this project too. Seeing as how it's been a long time. I can't honestly remember the last time I colored something that was just straight from my imagination, because this project, you know, I drew on the live stream based on kind of what people were giving me, and then I just did some fine-tuning of it after the live stream ended, and decided, you know, it'd be fun to color and to do kind of a more cartoonish, less realistic project, because there's a lot of principles of art and design that I'm using for this project, you know, as far as color theory and lighting and shadows and all of the information that I've covered in this project that I think was hopefully beneficial to a number of you that has been watching this project evolve. Because I have covered a whole bunch of information. More than I even anticipated, really. Alright, I'm going to grab a gray color, but first I need to unpack my pencils. Wasn't quite prepared to find a gray pencil. Let's see here. This one stands out to me. What color is this? This is a cool gray. I don't like this one. Let's go with something. I'm looking for 272, so that's the color I'm going to use. All right, got it. Alright, so I'm going to use 272 to start darkening my stones up a bit. And I think I'll start over here. And I'm just going to do a light layer, avoiding the highlights where I added that blue earlier. So I'm just going to slowly build up the layer here. Probably incorporate some of the purple, maybe some of the green. Just use a variety of the colors that I've used so far in the piece. Rocks, because rocks, even like the rocks that aren't so smooth, they do have a degree of smoothness to them. They have a lot of different surfaces, and some of those surfaces have like, you can kind of think of these rocks being built up of like jagged, smooth rocks where they have edges but they have flat sides as well that are smooth. And because of that, even the jagged rocks tend to reflect a lot of the color that surrounds them. And so anytime you're doing rocks, or you want to add rocks to a scene and you're not quite sure, you know, how to paint rocks or color rocks, it's best to just start with a light color that already shows up in your scene. In the case of these rocks, we use the sky color, the blue, and then just use different desaturated tones of the colors surrounding it. So for instance, the grass, all the grass surrounding these rocks, so incorporating a bit of green into my darker shaded areas of my stones here just makes sense, because these stones would be reflecting some of the color of the grass around them. Probably use some of the purple as well in the shadows, just to deepen them a bit. Try to avoid black. That's what I'm going for. I'm trying to avoid black in my stones. But if I need to go darker in some spots, then I won't be afraid to grab the black. But I like to grab black as kind of a last resort, especially on an object that I'm not trying to bring a lot of attention to. Obviously the stones here have a bit more visual interest than, you know, like the mountains in the back and the grass in the back. So adding some value to them and darkening up some of the spots isn't a terrible plan. But in general, I'd prefer to bring more attention and more contrast to the boot. So I'll most likely be using black on the boot, and less willing to add it to the stones here, just so that they don't draw your eye in too much. The grainy texture of the pencil gives the stones a nice natural looking texture as well. It's kind of a benefit of coloring with colored pencils rather than painting. You don't really have that luxury with paint. You don't get nearly as much texture as you do with pencils, The stones almost create themselves. Alright, let's see here. I'm gonna grab my dark green, I think. a dark green is the 267. I'm going to use this in some of the shadows as well. Just kind of scribble a little bit in there. I don't want to color the entire rock green, just add a little bit of it. I haven't blended out with the solvent yet. I'm going to do that as well. So the solvent will really make this green kind of pop out. So I'm going to use it sparingly so that I don't turn my stones completely green. Use a little bit more down here around the edge where the grass is really going to reflect onto the stones. So add a little bit more down here near the edge of the grass. Alright, I'm going to grab some purple now. Add some of this in the deeper shadows. Now purple is made up of red and blue, as most of you are probably aware. So mixing the purple and the green, you have somewhat of a potential of creating a browner tone, because the red that is in the purple that makes the purple look purple is the complement to green. And anytime you mix complementary colors, you get brown. So the purple inevitably will tone down the green, and the green will tone down the purple. So these two colors, the green and the purple, they'll kind of neutralize each other, while maintaining a very fluid color harmony throughout the entire piece. Once you have your triadic colors, and you mix, say for instance the orange and the purple, I mixed on the tops of the toadstools here to create the shadow, and then this color here is just a more desaturated version of this orange, so I used these colors to create the stems. And it's the combination of these colors and just mixing the same colors in over and over that create the color harmony throughout this entire scene. And that's how you can build your primary layers and values while maintaining a very harmonious color palette throughout your project. If you just minimize your color palette and then use those colors that you choose to generate other colors that you need and other values that you need, then it's safe to just mix them all and get certain tones that match everything else. Sometimes it can be difficult to match a shadow. Like you have, say you're painting a tree or something like that, and you're like, well, I need to add this shadow, but I don't quite know what colors. It appears to be blue, and I can't get the right tone. It's definitely not black. And so you can mix a variety of the colors that you used already in the scene to generate the shadow. And you actually see me do this a lot when I do like the single subject projects. For instance, this was a tutorial that I did long ago. To create the shadow, I literally only used the colors that I used throughout the entire piece, the oranges and the blacks and the browns, to generate that shadow. And it looks natural to the piece because it doesn't break that color harmony. And I do that a lot when I have isolated subjects like that and I just want to throw in a drop shadow. That's all I do. That's why I like using pencils or pastels to do peaches. Lovely texture. Yeah, they do have nice texture. Saw your art haul and those lovely oils. What am I going to paint? So I have one piece of panel. I did a commission late last year of an acrylic painting, and I needed to do. He asked for a 20 by 24. I think that's what it was. And I decided to just buy 2 panels. I mean, if I was going to buy one, I might as well buy 2, and maybe I'll do another painting. And it's just, the panel has just sat there since I did the commission, and the extra one, because I did do the commission. Today I finally took the plastic wrap off of it and I gessoed it, and I'm prepping it for painting. And I have a painting idea. That I created, that I spent all morning creating in Photoshop today, and I want to look at it like for several days before I commit to it, or if I want to change or add anything. This is kind of my authentic process that I go through, and I'm gonna keep it pretty secretive. But I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna record it, and it's not really. I'm not really intending to make it a time lapse, but there'll probably be some time lapse portion. For the most part, it's gonna be like a real time video. But I'm not gonna record 100% of the painting because I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna create a different type of video that I've never seen on YouTube before. And yeah, I'm gonna be pretty secretive about it up until its completion. So you'll just have to be patient. Oil painting, especially the painting that I intend to do, takes weeks and in some cases even months. 20 by 24 is not very big for me anyway to do an oil painting. It's actually relatively small, and so I'm guessing it's probably going to take about a month and a half to complete if I just work on it when I get the opportunity. But the subject of which I'm painting is, yeah, I'm gonna keep that a secret. I mean, if you know me and know know my personality and what I like to create, you can probably imagine with a reasonable amount of accuracy somewhat of what the painting will be of, but you'll just have to use your imagination until I reveal it. It's not going to be like the normal tutorial or time-lapse type video that I'm going to create. Like I said, the artwork is going to be something of a personal choice, along with the video. The video is going to be something unique and something different that I've never done before. Just to do it, because that's what I want to create. It has nothing to do with like the normal trying to produce content that gets views and gets likes and gets shares and makes subscribers and things like that. It's going to be a video that I guess is just a bit more personal, and if people like it, then fantastic. If they don't, that's okay too, because I'm going to make it for myself. Yeah, it's been a really long time. I'm trying to think of, I think it's been about 4 years since I've painted with oils. So it's been It's been a fairly long time since I've got to use oils, and I'm always answering the question, like, what are my favorite mediums to work in, and I'm always saying that oils is my favorite, and I haven't had room, and I still don't really have room. That's why I decided when I bought the oils, when I bought them last week, I didn't order any more canvas or panel. I hate painting on canvas. Canvas is disgusting. But I didn't buy any more panels to paint on because I knew that if I was going to do a painting, that it was going to take a long time anyway. I like my stones. I like the green and purple coming through on my stones. Yeah, I agree. It is nice. It will be nice to do something a bit more personal. Um, just kind of a project that is a long time coming. And just I feel like it's been a really long time since I've just kind of created something original, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. I mean, it's not like I don't enjoy creating projects like this to do as tutorials, but at the end of the day, I do this, and it pays the bills. And so the project that I intend to work on kind of offline isn't going to make me any money at all. So it's just nice to kind of go back to a bit more of a creative process where I don't feel as much pressure to complete something or to do a project that I've lost interest in. Fortunately enough, this project here I have not lost interest in. I see it hanging on my wall all the time, and that's why even though you guys don't ask for more live streams for Patreon, like and many of you have said that it's fine if I don't, do multiple live streams. I want to, simply because I am enjoying the process of this project so much that I want to complete it, and I want to put more work into it to complete it. I need to add a little bit more to the stones here. All right. Why do I find canvas disgusting? It's not like actually disgusting, but I do not like to work on canvas when I paint because I don't like texture. I guess Kimberly, you are fairly new to my channel and to my Patreon, and I haven't said it in a long time, but I cannot stand texture. Like, not visual texture. Visual texture is perfectly fine, but surface texture that I work on, which is surprising because when I started pastels, I really enjoyed working on the UArt paper, and I still enjoy working on the UArt paper. It's just really painful for me to pay for the shipping to get UArt paper. And obviously that's sandpaper, which is very textured, but for some reason I actually do enjoy working on that. But yeah, Canvas and painting, it just I guess I'll never really understand why anybody would want to use canvas when panel is so much nicer. Like the smoothness of it and the exactness of where your brush is going to apply paint. The thing with canvas is if it's like a deeper canvas, like actual real canvas, and you go in with like a small brush to do a little detail, you have to deal with all those teeny tiny little square holes, and it just drives me absolutely nuts, because I feel like you can never be fully accurate with your brush. So it's just kind of, yeah, it just drives me a little crazy. All right, I'm gonna add a bit more blue to my stones here. I'm going to add some green over here because the angle that we're viewing everything, I feel like the grass would be a bit more reflected on the top of the stones on this side. And I'm going to go with, yeah, I'm just going to go with blue on this side. And I'm going to do another layer of gray. Just to darken the stones overall. I think I'm going to add some more brown. Yeah, I'm going to add another layer of brown to my stones. I'm not really concerned about pencil stroke direction, so I'm just going to scribble it in however. Let's go ahead. I'm going to add some more green down here around the edges of the grass. Kind of tone down that purple. There we go. And I'm going to take the white and go over top on the top side of the stones here where I want them to be lighter. Just to smooth that top side a little bit before blending again. There we go. I think I'm going to hold off on adding the lines. Yeah, I think I'll do that with the dark green, but I'm going to blend this layer out now. Oh, I don't think that I could do oil paintings on sheets of paper. I have too much respect for oil painting, and so if I'm going to do anything with oil painting, it has to be on panel, and nothing less than that, because I do not practice oil paints. When I work with oils, it is to just do a painting. It is to nothing other than that. If I get like the paper stuff, I would only use that to create like an oil tutorial or something. But Yeah, I don't think I do not see myself creating an oil painting tutorial on my channel. The pastels and the colored pencils are hard enough to keep up with, and I 100% for sure know I don't have the space to do tutorials for oil paints, because I would just need, I use too much. That's the thing. Like, I have too much out when I'm oil painting. It's just too much for me to keep track of. Oh yeah, I know the paper that you're referring to, as far as like the sheets that you can use. When I got introduced to oil painting, that's actually what I first started on, was those Archie oil painting sheets of paper, and that's what I learned on. And then I did part of the class that I took. We were required to learn how to stretch our own canvas, which is a cool thing to know how to do. I mean, you know, buy stretcher bars, buy the canvas all rolled up, and make a million canvases for a fraction of the cost that it is if you buy canvas. Yeah, I just don't like working on canvas. So as soon as I did used panel for the first time, I knew that was it. Same thing when it came to colored pencils, and I used the Strathmore Bristol plate paper. I was like, yep, I found my paper. This is the paper that I love, and nobody's going to be able to change my mind. The same holds true with oils. When I used panel for the first time, I was like, why would anybody paint on anything other than this? This is just pure magic. Yay, my stones. They look like stones. I'm kind of excited about the way these stones turned out. I think they look really nice. I'm going to use the dark green, that 267, to come in here and add a bit of detail in the shadows. I don't know if I've seen any of your oil painting, Chrissy. I'm gonna have to go check out your page and look for your oil paintings. I've seen a lot of pastel work from you, though. I'm not even sure if I recall like knowing that you used oil paints. When is the last time that you did an oil painting? I feel like it has to have been a little while. If I just can't remember if I've seen any of them. Haven't got any oils on YouTube. Oh, okay. Well, that would explain it. That would explain it. I must say, I am rather quite proud of the way my stones turned out. I like them. I like them a lot. Now I need to finish up the grass, so I'm going to grab my middle green first. This is the 112 green. And I still feel like I need quite a bit of texture everywhere, but I'm going to start up front here. Just add grass in front of my newly finished stones. This will make the grass look more complete. It's been needing it rather badly. At least in my opinion. I feel like the border, or the faded border, still needs a little finessing as well to just kind of round it off a little bit. I feel like this gap here is just wrong, and I've been avoiding making the correction simply because I needed to finish the grass anyway, and I didn't feel like doing half of it. So now that my stones are done, I can finish off the grass texture, put in a little bit of grass around the edges of my stones, my little walkway stones here, throw in a little, a few weeds by my stones in the walkway. That will just make it look much, much better. Also, it's been quite some time since you used oils as well. Well, hopefully my excitement has inspired you a bit, and you pick up your brushes to do a painting. Okay, I might be going a little overboard with my little grass patches here, but I like them. Alright, let's add some faded grass down here so that fades out nicely. Use that really light green too to finish off that kind of fade as the blades of grass kind of dissolve into the paper. Alright, I'm going to grab that light green and just add a few super light blades of grass down here as it fades into the paper. most likely won't be able to see this on camera, but it's just to kind of taper that grass into the paper so that it fades really, really nicely. Do it around the edges a little bit as well, and especially over here. This section is probably the one section that I've really just not liked looking at for the past couple weeks since finishing the grass. I don't like the way that it comes out and then back in, so I need to extend the grass out right in this area here. Yeah, I think that looks better already. Now I can grab my dark grass, the 268. That light green, by the way, what was that? 166. These polychromos color numbers are so hard to read. This dark green is the 267. Oh, hello, Joy. Yeah, I might be able to. What time is it? Oh yeah, I haven't been streaming for that long. About an hour. I should be able to do the flowers after I finish up this grass here. I want to incorporate some of this brown color into the grass as well to add a bit of variety of color to the blades of grass. And I might even throw in some of that gray too that I picked out earlier that I used in the stones. Maybe. I kind of like the brightness of the grass, so I might just add a bit of the brown and call it done. Throw some of this color into the back, just a tiny bit for some variety, so that it doesn't look so uniform. Uniformity is not the friend of realism. I guess it'd be a better way of putting it is uniformity is the enemy of realism. Yeah. And obviously this isn't a realistic scene, but I'm coloring it with all the principles of realism. Alright, get the nice sharp point on my brown here. This color is the 178. And I'm just going to throw in a bit of brown into to my grass for some color diversity. Yeah, I never shared a picture of the progress of this drawing yet. I think after today I might actually feel comfortable enough to do it. Sometimes I don't share like work in progresses because they're just too deep into the ugly stage. And when I had just the sky and the grass colored in, I didn't even want to hang it on my wall waiting to color it. It was so hard to look at. But now now that the grass has a really nice texture to it, and I have some of that orange in there with the toadstools, it's actually starting to really come to life. Part of the reason I'm really been enjoying working on this project. I feel like if I wasn't standing right now, I could probably work on this all day. But my legs are getting kind of tired. And I have other work I need to do. I have this one commission that is just beyond irritating. They commissioned me last year, and they've been really getting on my nerves. And it has not been easy to finish the project. And so hopefully I can kind of wrap that up in the next week and a half, because I'm just I don't want to look at it, and I want to throw the stuff away. I just want to throw it all away. All right. Yeah, I think that brown balances out. Really, neighbor? You've got to be kidding me. Don't do it again. Jeez. Can you guys hear my neighbor? Maybe. It's not as loud as he sometimes is, but goodness gracious. Right when I was getting into the flowers. You guys gotta let me know if you can hear that, because I might just hold off. Now that the stones are done, the grass is rounded off and complete. Maybe I'll just save the flowers for Thursday. Thursday we can do the flowers and maybe the little mouse. I think that might be good. Possibly the flowers, the little mouse, and of course Nugget. Can't forget about Nugget. I think I need I'll need one more color. Yeah, you can hear. Oh yeah, I forgot, Kimberly. You're new to the live stream. Allow me to introduce you to my upstairs neighbor that has been renovating his flat for literally the entire time I've lived here, and I'm coming up on 2 years next month. I swear to you, all he does as a hobby is drill holes into his cement walls, because our building is completely concrete. It is insanely loud to drill into the walls to hang things up. That's why I don't hang up any of my artwork, because it's impossible. And I can't use those things that stick to the wall, the little sticky hangers, because something about like the paint, the way that it doesn't want to ever stick to the concrete, those sticky things will just fall off. It's ridiculous. But yeah, since my neighbor decided to start drilling holes again, I think I'm gonna call it a day. It was good progress, and yeah, it was good progress. Thursday I'm gonna be streaming again, so we'll do the flowers. We'll start with the flowers, and then maybe we'll do the mouse, and we'll go from there. So I hope everybody had a fun time with today's live stream. I will see you on Thursday, and until then, take care. Peace.